who is Manny Thain, who is our Joint National Secretary of Tamil Solidarity.
Well, thanks, Jose, for the introduction. And I think that we've seen, like the solidarity today. It's been a great success. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. But really, it's down to the hard work and dedication of the active members of the campaign, especially the members of the National Coordinating Committee, which is elected every year at our annual general meeting, which meets regularly to discuss, debate the policy and strategy of the campaign. And so the first question is, why do we organise a Solidarity Day in the first place? And I think that to a great extent, the Solidarity Day really sums up the Tamil Solidarity campaign. In the first session, we discussed in detail the Vadukodai resolution, an event which took place 40 years ago, but not as a historical lecture, but as a debate on the way forward today. And we heard not only from Tamil activists, but Bashana as well, a Sinhala activist who has defended Tamil rights for decades and has campaigned against the policy of the Sri Lankan government. We invited contributions from other campaigns in an open, democratic and constructive discussion, and we want to continue that debate publicly, openly, on the way forward for the Tamil struggle with any Tamil organisations. In the second session, we heard from our sisters and brothers around the world, building links with other oppressed peoples. And finally, this session, from workers in struggle, in defence of vital public services, for decent jobs, for living wage, and for a future for youth, because these are all our natural allies. The 6 million workers organised in the trade unions in Britain and the campaigns of the oppressed are the most reliable, most consistent allies of the Tamil-speaking people. And that is because we all face the same opposing forces. When the regime of Mahinda Rajapaksa launched all-out war on the Tamils, he received massive military and financial aid from the Chinese regime, from India, from Pakistan, military intelligence from the UK and the US and other powers, while the so-called international community looked the other way. And what about the continued arms exports today from the Tory government to the Sri Lankan regime? And the backing by British government and other world and regional powers to the UN resolution last year, which rules out any chance of a meaningful investigation into war crimes, torture and disappearances during and after the slaughter. Or to the denial by the self-same international community of world powers of the secret detention and torture camps, the ongoing land grab and military occupation in the north and east of Sri Lanka, the disgusting conditions which thousands are still forced to live in camps for the internally displaced, and also not to mention or not to detail the sexual violence by thousands of women, above all by military personnel in the north and east, acting with impunity. And the hard fact is that it's in the self-interest of this so-called international community of governments to look the other way, in their strategic interests in Southeast Asia and the economic interests of big business. And that also applies to the assault of David Cameron's government on our NHS and other essential public services, as we've just heard from Claire on the academisation and privatisation of education, as we heard from both Dave and Ian on the attempt to drive down wages and working conditions, 0-hour contracts, ever-rising tuition fees, and so on. Incidentally, Rosie, when she gave us a fantastic breakdown of the junior doctors dispute, didn't mention the fact that when we set up Tamil Solidarity 7 years ago, she was one of the founding members, regularly travelling to London to help establish the campaign, while at the same time organising a whole series of protests and public meetings in Southampton, and especially Southampton University. And now, as we've heard, she is on the front line defending our NHS against government attack. So this is our battle too. And all these struggles are united, and that is the whole point. And that is the message of Solidarity Day. And that is why Tamils, as Izzy has just explained, Tamil workers should join the trade unions and join the fight for their rights and for decent wages and for working conditions. It is why Tamil students should join the fight for free education, and why Tamil communities need to engage in the struggle with cuts to essential public services. And then, for those Tamil organisers and communities to take the Tamil struggle into all of those campaigns and into those organisations as well, so we can build a united movement. Because we have to build this movement against the representatives of the 1%, against the vested interests of international big business, against the vested interests of the world powers who are in cahoots against the workers and oppressed of the world. Now, Tamil Solidarity was set up 7 years ago to help build such a movement. And you would have seen today how serious we take this task. No one here has been able to walk 5 paces without bumping into a Tamil Solidarity member selling our discussion material and pamphlets, waving a collecting tin in your vicinity, asking you to sign a petition and asking you to make a donation to this campaign. Because it's essential, that financial and physical support is essential to enable us to build our work and build our campaign, not only in Britain, but also to strengthen our work in Sri Lanka, in Tamil Nadu, in Malaysia, and other areas of the world. We are confident that we can succeed, and we ask you to join us in that struggle.